I'll tell you what we're talking about in this episode. We are discussing Ethereum. We are discussing the second free pass they received as a result of the lawsuit settlement. I'll inform you, I promise. James, the wallet head of Ripple Central Bank Digital Currencies, will share my thoughts, my assessment, and the reasons behind filing the lawsuit. Unsurprisingly, Ripple caters to central banks and governments worldwide. I'm curious to know why, and I recently watched the video to find out. We recently learned garlinghouse. How did he inform us? We have numerous non-disclosure agreements, and as central banks are collaborating with Ripple and further developments are underway. So without further ado, let's dive in. It's 8:05 a.m. folks. I'm running 2 hours late timetable. I was up all night with my dog. As you are aware, I slept in the bedroom. However, for the last 2 weeks, we are halfway through. I have been sleeping on my couch. His ACL surgery believed that we were moving him off the couch and into the bed, so he carried him up and down. He was panting up there, urging the water to flow freely. Ethereum has increased by 3.82% over the last 24 hours, while Bitcoin is currently down 8% at 16,500. Why is the dollar trading at $3,542? I wonder. The USC bundle will cost $99. I would assume that whoever was holding the USC money has converted it into XRP at 49. If you're not optimistic, this implies that the overall market valuation of cryptocurrency has decreased by 67% to $389 billion. Given the current prices on these markets, could we witness one more breakdown? Please, I'm not sure when you're going to become bullish. Yes, we could make no significant moves, 10 to 15% at most. But if you can't take a 10 to 15% decline, you don't deserve the thousands of percent movements we are about to experience upward. This is a great time to make a small DCA. As I previously mentioned, timing the bottom is nearly impossible, but if we're within 10 to 15%, we like to get as close to the bot. We actually descend that much lower, than we have pretty much hit the mark. You can see that we did a fantastic job when we placed this at the bottom of the market. We are merely awaiting our target, and because I think it will arrive in the next 2 weeks, I'm putting it out there. I'll tell you the target there, the area I want to enter, after which I'll be implementing. Bitcoin is $779 billion according to Bernstein. Major financial institutions will soon accept Bitcoin exchange-traded funds (FS) ETF. Are you ready? We have discussed the first wave of institutional money entering these ETF. The subsequent waves 2, 3, and 4 will arrive very quickly and constitute a financial deluge. You may be wondering how Bitcoin will eventually reach 1, 6, or even 60. Even institutional money worth $250,000 looks like retail people. There's a limit to how much we can invest in the retail market for an extended period. Money always runs out, but institutional money has plenty of it and hasn't yet made a dent in cryptocurrency. Brad, there's a reason GH informed you that my targets, which total 5 trillion, fall within the range of 7 to 10 trillion by the end of this year for a specific reason. There will be more ETF besides Bitcoin. In July, Ethereum will launch. What does it mean when the ETF receives approval? Money from institutions moves into Ethereum. Investing more money in an asset simply increases its value. We anticipate a rise to 8,000 to 10,000 with the possibility of it any $1,000. Ethereum, you're still in the woods. Everything will depend on the number of institutions that enter and how much money they invest. And now it's here. Last night, the SEC disclosed this information. The information started circulating on Twitter, but we decided not to proceed. The source of this information is the United States Senate Commission. We have written this. I'd like to suggest that the Commission take enforcement action against your client. Consensus Software. Consensus is a person who created an ICO, advised individuals to hide their identity so that others wouldn't recognize them, and raised money to support the network's expansion. Is the one responsible for the Ethereum consensus. This person is one of Joe Lubin's Metallic Butters. This individual embodies the concept of security, but the second time they got off with a free pass. This is the tweet I posted, and it explains why this whole thing happened. I wish Ripple's lawsuit against the SEC had proceeded as swiftly and cost-effectively as this one. They essentially paid nothing so that I could respond appropriately. Perhaps we should take a moment to retweet and show some love, but this is what's happening. The SEC is the sole Explanation for their wells. Due to the intense heat, everyone agreed to cover their tracks. The SEC was under so much pressure from so many different groups and angles that they had to issue a wells notice. They claim in an air quote they cannot see them looking into consensus and what they did with the why. It's just a simple look at what happened. They cleared it, and now they can say that they conducted the due diligence they looked into regardless of the evidence we present or the findings. Ethereum conducted a thorough investigation into the past actions of consensus and found no misconduct. They have closed the book and have no plans to reopen or reinvestigate. They took this action to safeguard the reputations of those who previously worked for their agency and to establish their credibility as agents. Billman and claimant simply put exercise due diligence. Therefore, they gave the impression that they were working on it by leaving the keys open for a brief period before closing it. In reality, I can assure you that every XRP in my purse that the SEC opened was the cash stored the keys at the back of the document. Please send them a calendar reminder to return and review this document within the next 4 weeks. They should also publish a letter stating that they have followed all necessary procedures and have found no wrongdoing on Ethereum. I can guarantee you that as soon as they announce the investigation and drop the well notice on top of the consensus they had already pre-drafted, the letter you were looking at, it was prepared, pre-marked, and ready to go. When their calendar alerted them to the next meeting, I asked them to remind them to announce that you investigated consensus and Ethereum and found no wrongdoings. It was a setup. This entire situation was orchestrated by Ripple, who 2 years after investing $100 billion to oppose consensus has only spent perhaps $100, never appeared in court, and has never released any concrete information. On the other hand, the SEC asserts that they conducted an incredibly quick investigation, concluding that there was no wrongdoing in this case. However, this was a remarkably simple case, a mere alley-oop, a layup, and a fast break for them once all the information was presented on Twitter. This demonstrates the widespread corruption within this agency, underscoring the need for Gensler's dismissal and a thorough overhaul of the entire SEC.